This is our Millers BBQ collaboration dinner video. We went to Finland, to Hameelinna specifically, to do a collaboration dinner with our friend Aki Kinnunen and his staff. We met up with the Feges there. Brad and Nick were there. This restaurant is beautiful. It's almost an ancient grain mill. They just said they're starting to be powered by like water power, their electricity. So pretty incredible place. It's also a barbecue place. They got a smokehouse. They got a smoker. This is in Oiler. Smoked on that for the first time. This is Tommy. He's the pit master. We hung out a lot, cooked together, definitely shared some long drinks and some beers together. Here he is showing us some baby back ribs, some chicken on the smoker. We just had a great time with these guys, and Tommy specifically was a total badass and great pitmaster in his own right. Could hold up with the best of them here in Texas. Not only did we do a collaboration dinner, but put a couple dishes, side dishes on the menu. I, of course, made some chili, made some no-bean reindeer chili. Kind of had this chipped frozen reindeer meat that I put a bunch of spices in, some stock, just cooked it down till it was nice and rich and meaty, and hit it with the immersion blender a little bit, and they served it top with some cheese, sour cream, the good stuff. But they didn't have a lot in the way of different chili powders, so had to make do with some different paprikas and other spices. Turned out great. It was a good time working in the kitchen with the Fegeses, with Brad. It was a really cool kitchen. They had pretty much all induction stuff there. There's Patrick working on some of his escabeche. And honestly, Miller's has some pretty damn good barbecue. Look at that slice of brisket. He didn't choose any specific one for us. He just did, cut a really good piece. Those are some ribs, some pork belly, some mac and cheese, some kale, not kale, but Caesar salad. And this is a barbecue place just like any other. They got a block, they got a warmer, they got some warming drawers, and they just got all the meats on hand ready to cut up and carve up for when people come and order them. And just like any other barbecue place, they have standards and measurements, and however they specify how much meat goes on a plate. So the first night we got in, Aki cooked us up some steaks. I don't know what kind of steaks they were, but they were delicious. He just fried them up in some pans and threw some garlic and thyme down. They were really, really good. The day before the actual event, we started prepping some of the beef cheeks, and the great news is that they are all pre-trimmed and enormous and delicious looking. They come in these packs. I don't know exactly how big they are, but Poski is cheek. And as soon as I started to open these packages, I just, had flashbacks to every single cheek I've ever trimmed in my life and how much time I've wasted. Because look at these things, they already come pre-trimmed, they're enormous, they're fantastic. We didn't need to do a thing to them other than just dunk them in this great looking rub that they have already. This is what they use for their brisket, for their beef. It's a pretty coarse pepper and salt. It's got some other stuff, garlic in there too, but it's pretty much exactly what we're looking for when we're cooking beef cheeks. So here's the cheeks all seasoned up, ready to go on the smoker. Pitmaster Tommy putting them shoulder to shoulder, just like little soldiers all lined up there. He knows, yeah, big strong. He knows that when they cook, they shrink up pretty much instantly, and there's some air gaps that open up right away. Tommy with the cheeks. And as you can see, they were finished the next day in a confit, this time in a sous vide. This might be how we do things at the brick and mortar, because you use a fraction of the beef fat and they come out pretty perfect. They cook them in a steam oven, so it's not exactly a sous vide, but they vacuum packed it, did not put them in water, but put them in a steam oven at a very controlled temperature. This is the oiler that we cooked on. Cooked with some alder wood for the first time. Interesting wood. It's what grows there, so it is the flavor of that land. And speaking of flavor of that land, man, did we get to work with some amazing looking chanterelle and other types of mushrooms. These mushrooms specifically were foraged by one of the staff members right by the winery that we went to the day prior. A bunch of different kind of mushrooms, and we had a field day with these. I made a mushroom gravy, I roasted some, I pickled some, but first I gotta chop them up. Before I got all the mushrooms chopped up, I took the amount of chanterelles that I wanted to roast and wanted to pickle for garnish and got those ready. I already tossed these in some melted butter. There's some thyme stems, there's a little bit of rosemary, there's some garlic in there, and now I'm just seasoning them up with some salt. Gonna rub those up and then just kind of let them sit until they're ready to go into the hot oven and roast off. These are just gonna be garnish on the dish, which is going to be the cheeks reheated in the gravy, mashed potatoes with the gravy, and then the garnished roasted and pickled mushrooms. For the pickling liquid, just kind of pulled some spices off the shelf. There's some cardamom, juniper, black pepper, star anise, bay leaves. That went into a brine with some cider vinegar and salt and some sugar. Just wanted something bright, something a little chewy and spongy. Love a pickled mushroom, incredibly underrated. So after I had all the mushrooms chopped up and melted some butter, they went into a big rondo to start cooking down, and they just slowly stewed and started releasing their moisture and started breaking down until they became almost looking like a gravy, and I didn't even have to do anything to it. But also wanted to add some garlic, thyme, and some rosemary there, so I chopped some of that stuff up and then just threw that in, and you can see exactly what the mushrooms were looking like. This is before I did any kind of gravy work to it. Speaking of gravy work, going in with some chicken stock into the dark roux that I have built with some butter and some flour. Did step one of the gravy was to chop up all the mushrooms, took them down with some butter, I added some garlic, some thyme, some rosemary. Step two of this gravy was to make a dark roux like I'm making a gumbo. I'm adding some chicken stock. I'm gonna add some cream right now as well too. I'm gonna add like a bay leaf and just kind of let this cook and thicken. And then I'm going to mix those two together. So I've got kind of a cream gravy on one side and a brown gravy on the other side. Mix them together. Then we're gonna cut the cheeks up, pre-cut them from cold, put them in a pan with this gravy, and then just warm them really gently. Let this come up. And if you are cooking with booze and drinking booze, you might as well put a little bit in there, whatever you're drinking. Had a little bit of that dark beer added to the mix, make things a little bit more malty. Took the immersion blender to it to kind of smooth out the gravy. That is looking good. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this. Normally we heat stuff up whole and cut it to order, but for this we are going to be cutting these cheeks because they were cooked in a sous vide, smoked. We saw them yesterday going on the smoker. Now peeling all this stuff away, and they're going to go into this pan. I'm going to put the mushroom gravy on top. Mushrooms foraged from very near here, and then we're going to heat them up very slowly in the gravy. The gravy also has some of this delicious gelatinous beef in it. And yeah.
Still gigantic.
Still big. Gigantic. Here's all the cut up cheeks. I kind of staged them in hotel pans like that, and then I've got a bunch of our amazing, delicious looking gravy, the perfect color, the perfect consistency, and we just start ladling that stuff on. And this dish came out awesome. Honestly, I would like to reheat cheeks like this in some other different type of sauces, some barbecue sauces, some other types of gravies, some kind of curry, and just kind of like see how they come out, see what happens, see how it tastes, because this method of kind of reheating them already sliced up in a sauce worked out really well. I was honestly shocked with the results. Making mashed potatoes right now. What I'm doing is scoring these potatoes, and I'm going to boil them, and when they're boiled I'm going to drain them, and then the score is going to make it easier to peel just with a towel, paper towel. Alright, making mashed potatoes, palm puree. Usually, you know, we don't have a food mill or a Tammy at the truck or the commissary, but they do have those things here, so we're going to make it nice and smooth, really beautiful. These are cooked potatoes. I kind of scored them to begin with. You kind of saw me doing that, like all the way around. That makes it just easy to kind of peel the skin away. So we're going to peel all the skin off, peel this stuff away. Same thing on the other side. Nice and easy, comes right off. And then we stick them in here. This is a food mill, and we just push them through, and it comes out nice and smooth down here without making it gummy or gloopy. Coming up.
Oh. What's your butter to potato ratio?
A lot to a little. No, there's no real, I didn't weigh these potatoes. Don't do that. Ain't my move.
Even with mashed potatoes, you gotta cook by feel.
That's right. I'm definitely going to do with all this. I need to get salt.
Are the potatoes different here?
It's my favorite, literally my favorite food. I get so excited here. Are the potatoes different here? You know, not really that I noticed. They just looked like your pretty standard Yukon Gold. Alright, pretty much everything was ready for the dinner at this point. Brad got back with his sausages. Those went on the smoker real quick. Patrick's pork belly came out of the oven. Erin was working on her dish, the rutabaga and parsnips. Everything is just about coming together, and it's time for service. Brad and Nick cutting up some sausages. They had a little cutting station back there. We had all the plates lined up on the counter. They were dishing out some grits and passing up us the little slices of sausages. We would put them down on the plate, finish it with a little bit of sauce and some microgreens. That sausage, by the way, just came out incredible. You can see how juicy it is right there. The next dish was Erin's. It was a little bit of a mole. There was another sauce there. There was a braised and seared piece of rutabaga, and then some caramelized parsnips. And then I think it had some other kind of, oh yeah, that's right, some really good cheese on there, and then some microgreens, of course. Patrick's dish was next with the pork belly. They had the same mole, but Patrick cooked this crispy skinned pork belly, did the smoke with the salt crust, and then fired it off in their combi oven nice and hot to crisp up that skin. Served it with that really good looking escabeche, and then I think there was some nasturtium on the plate too. It was really, really tasty.
Hey, this one just came out of the oven, so do that last.
Yeah.
We have enough if there's any like rough pieces,
Yeah.
we can skip them.
My dish was the last main course. It was the potato puree, mushroom gravy, cheeks heated up in the gravy, roasted and pickled mushrooms, and then yeah, we just finished my everything with microgreens. Came out really good. I was at the pass finishing every single little dish this way. I'm definitely going to do that again. Reheating things in gravy, definite recommend by me. Aki had the dessert course. Here he is doing some canals of ice cream. Not enough canals in barbecue.
That's true.
This dish had so many components. The ice cream, there was a beef fat caramel, there was a rhubarb jam, there's some macerated strawberries there. I don't know what that cream is, but this is only, you know, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 5 components of that dish down, and it's not even getting close to being finished. Those strawberries also had like some finely diced mint in there. This dish was so complex, so good, so delicious. There was also a little kind of a puff pastry on there, coated in some cinnamon sugar. It was fantastic, and he really took it up a notch. After everything was over, Aki cooked us some grilled cheeses, threw out some meats and cheese spread. And I just want to thank Aki again for hosting this dinner. I thought it was incredible. Everybody really stepped up, had some incredible food, cooked some incredible food. And we had to jam Nick in the back of the car with some Hameelinna. Cheers from Finland.